In Brazil, a parliamentary inquiry has published its findings into President Bolsonaro's highly controversial handling of the pandemic there. The country's death toll from COVID, at more than 600,000, is the second highest in the world after the United States. And the president finds himself accused of crimes against humanity and misuse of public funds. Our South America correspondent, Katie Watson, has the story.
O vírus chegou e brevemente passará. Devemos, sim, voltar à normalidade.
But despite President Bolsonaro's bold predictions, COVID-19 wreaked havoc in Brazil. There's no normal for the hundreds of thousands of families who lost loved ones. And as each new grave was dug, denial at the top continued. Today was the culmination of nearly 6 months of hearings, picking apart all that Bolsonaro did and didn't do. The government was accused of underplaying the crisis from the very start.
BBC News.
Senators pointing to our report in the Amazon, where hospitals collapsed earlier this year, as proof the situation was worse than claimed. Ahead of the report's final reading, crimes including indigenous genocide and mass homicide were removed. That, though, doesn't mean Bolsonaro has been let off.
Absolutely not. The combined charges against President Bolsonaro amount to more than 84 years in prison.
Tadeu spent 4 months in ICU. The scars from being intubated still very visible. His family refused to believe the doctors when they said his only option was palliative care. Thanks to them, Tadeu's here today. Families were betrayed, Tadeu says. They feel a weight on their conscience that they could have done something like my family did. There was an ideological choice made, not a medical one, with my treatment. The inquiry has its critics. Bolsonaro's supporters say it's vindictive, and he remains resolute.
Nada produziram, a não ser o ódio e o rancor entre alguns de nós. Mas nós sabemos que não temos culpa de absolutamente nada. Sabemos que fizemos a coisa certa desde o primeiro momento.
600,000 deaths and counting. While Brazil buries the dead, crimes are still being unearthed. But will Jair Bolsonaro have to answer to them?
So senators will be back here next week to vote on the report, and if it passes it will go to federal prosecutors who will decide whether or not to look into the charges recommended by the report, but there are no guarantees. What is clear though is that this inquiry has dented Bolsonaro's popularity, and there are elections here in Brazil next year, so could this cost him re-election if he runs?
Katie, many thanks again. Katie Watson with the latest in Brazil.